This is actually the 13th session out of 24 complementary sessions for German A2 level. We will continue our discussion on the topics that were left from last session. So we spoke about the interrogative article welcher, but we did not get to talk about was few. We will do that today. Let us start. This is a disclaimer, guys. This happens to be the not so 12th was yesterday. This is the 13th session. So let us look at some examples. So I think you will have we are going through the examples, just try to see are there some differences, and if there are some differences, when I mean differences, so is the article that is being used changing. For example, you will notice, so it is eine, here it becomes einer, here it is einen, here it becomes einem, right? So if that change, notice these changes and then see what can or what are the factors that are that might be that might be causing these changes. Again, I can just give you the rules, but it's best that you get to explore a language and then you have some idea why uh, in German language this becomes that, why are these changes happening. This way you will not have to remember the rules, you just discover the rules, and when you discover some rule you don't have to remember them, right? So it's easy for you to say these things in German, right? So what I'm trying to say is that you discover this new aspect of the language and then you know them, you don't have to remember them. Let us start. So was für ein Arzt bist du? Was für einen Arzt soll ich anrufen? Was für einem Arzt helfen Sie? Check what is happening over here is that, so we notice something, that we are using was and few together. So far you know that few is a preposition and what comes after few is normally accusative, and you use few to say things like for, right? For something. But here few is not that. Here few is associated with was few, so you should not treat few individually. So don't think that okay, here we had few and that's why this became einen. No, that is not the case. Here you should treat was few together as a one entity. Okay, why? We will get to that just in few minutes. Okay, so you saw was für ein Arzt bist du, was für einen Arzt soll ich anrufen, was für einem Arzt helfen Sie. If you have been paying attention, then you would see that here you are using the verb sein. So sein conjugated for du is bist. So whenever you have sein, the subject and the object both are nominative. So here it is ein. So you realize here the ein is associated with an object that is in nominative case. What about here? Einen Arzt soll ich anrufen? So here the verb is anrufen, and you know here when you use anrufen, the first object will be accusative, and here the object is Arzt, it is masculine, and you use einen. Okay, so masculine accusative, it became einen. What about here? So when you have helfen, you know it belongs to one of those dative verbs list, and so here you have einem, right? So masculine dative einem. Now if you know, so normally, so whenever you have a verb, right, then you will have a subject, and the first object or the direct object will be accusative, and the indirect object or the second object will be dative. Okay, but helfen, even the first object itself is dative. Why? That's how it is. Okay, so you realize that, so when you use was few, when it is nominative it is ein, masculine nominative it is ein, masculine accusative it is einen, masculine dative it is einem. Do you already know this? Of course you know this. You know indefinite articles, right? You know ein, einen, einem. Okay, but what is then was few? What exactly am I trying to say over here is that, so if you try to literally translate this in English, it will sound like, what for doctor are you? Yes, you can say that, but actually it is, what I'm trying to say over here is that, or whoever says this sentence is, that person is trying to say, what kind of a doctor are you, right? It can be said in a good way, like, for example, says, introduces themselves to you, say I'm a doctor, and then your next question will be obviously, what kind of a doctor are you, which body part or what specialization. You can also say this in a negative way, right, depending on how you're saying it. If you're angry at someone, so you can say was few ein, and the profession, what kind of a person are you, what kind of a doctor are you, what kind of an engineer are you, what kind of an IT guy are you, depending on how you're saying it. Here the same thing, But here you're saying, what kind of doctor should I call? What kind of doctor are you helping? Let's say you meet someone who works as a nurse, and then you say, okay, what kind of doctors do you assist, or what kind of doctors do you help, right? So you can ask those kind of questions. Again, you may not be interested in saying these sentences, but what I'm trying to say is that now you can say things like what kind of, right? What kind of something someone is, okay, or what kind of something someone does, action. What about this block over here? Here everything, so Datenbank technology is feminine. So feminine, Nominativ einer, feminine Akkusativ einer, and then here it is, was für eine Person gefällt diese Datenbanktechnologie. So here it is dative, feminine, right? Person is feminine, it's dative. And you know this, right? Einer. This is feminine. Indefinite articles. Nominative, accusative, dative. What about here? Was für ein Problem? Was für ein Problem? Was für ein Problem? So here it was nominative, sein, haben accusative. Bist du begegnet? Begegnen is a special kind of verb that requires the helping verb to be sein and not haben. Begegnen is to encounter, like to face someone, right? So here it is dative. Okay. What about this block? So here you check was für Projekte, was für Besprechungen, was für Räume, Handys, Zimmer, Softwares, Termine, Besprechungen or Besprechungen, depending on your city, how you pronounce it. Meetings, Kolleginnen, Problemen, everything is plural, right? And here these two are in nominative. No, these two are nominative, right? So Projekte, Besprechungen are the subject of the sentence. So what kind of projects have priority? What kind of meetings last longer, right? So these are nominative. Here they are in accusative case, right? Reservieren Räume, so you reserve rooms. So rooms are being reserved. So what are being reserved? Rooms. That's why accusative. And then here again, helfen, geholfen is participle zwei or perfect of helfen. Here it is dative. Again, begegnet. Here it is dative. So you saw that, right? Now you already know this. Let's see. So here you are not using any articles, right? Because you know why. You don't have indefinite articles for plural case. So let's look at the same thing with more details. I mean, just what I just said. So this box, the nouns that were associated with was few were masculine. Here the nouns associated with was few were feminine. Here the nouns associated with was few were plural. Here the nouns associated with was few were neutral. And nominative, accusative, dative, nominative, accusative, dative. So I think you know this. So. Do you have to remember this table when you use was few? If you want to, so if it is not plural, and if it is not plural, if it is plural, then you cannot use an article. But if it is not plural, and if you want to use an article, so you'll have to remember this table. But you don't have to, right? I mean, do you not know this table, right? Not even this table. You already know this table, right? So einen, einem. You know this table, right? Already. So ein for neutral masculine, eine for feminine for nominative cases. Then when you go from nominative to accusative, only masculine changes, starts ending like n, so einen. Neutrum feminine remains same. When you go to dative, masculine neutrum become einem, feminine becomes einer. Actually, when you say it, it's still einer because you don't emphasize the r part when it is at the end of a word. So you don't even need to know. I mean, you know this table, but you already know this table, right? So it is nothing new. It is just that now you're associating it with was few. So was few, so just telling you how you can frame sentences. So was few, this article, and then here you will have noun, and then the verb describing the action, and then you can have object or adjective. You did not also have object. Even just was few, this one of these articles, noun and verb, conjugated verb will be a complete sentence. Okay, let's look at, yeah, I also wanted to say one more thing. It looks like that slide is not there, but so sometimes it will be here, it will be this when. So when you say was few and use one of these articles, and you are using noun, when you are using noun, okay, You don't have to remember this ERSS. So if I want to say was few ein Arzt bist du, so it will be was few ein Arzt bist du. But if I leave out the noun, okay, I only use the article, then I will have to you say was few einer bist du. Okay. Let's say if you want to say what kind of a child are you, again you'll never say, but let's say if you have to say was few ein Kind bist du, if you leave out the kind, it will be eins. Okay, so when you don't use the noun, explicitly say the noun, you will have to say einer for masculine nominative case, and for nominative, accusative, and nominative, sorry, neutrum, nominative, and accusative cases, if you leave out the noun, you will have to say eins. Okay, so I hope you could follow this. Thank you very much for listening.